locally from South Sunderland. I gotta move this bag so that it doesn't make my seatbelt thing go off. Okay, it went off. I just had to take off a few pounds off of it. Okay, so there's a page called Faces of Long Island, and someone had a story I think was pretty good. There we go. Let's see if I can find it now. Cause oh no. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's a 4-part story, but I'm only gonna read the part about this young girl. You know, of course she lives in Long Island because the name of the page is Faces of Long Island. And I'll let you hear. Hopefully I can read it all. So she's telling the story first about a date that she's okay, so I mean, I don't really have much to impart regarding, you know, that whole discussion there, or regarding that whole what happened to her and her family. You know, it's just a real rough story to me. You know, your only child. I mean, you go through the pictures, you go through the slides, you see her father has been severely overweight, probably upwards of 300 pounds plus since, you know, since she was born, right? So he had an enlarged heart. Of course, his heart got to grow bigger to pump all around his whole body. That's what I would interpret, right? And it says that he was hallucinating also. So I guess, you know, maybe there was some blood flow issue to his brain or whatever the case may be. So I don't know exactly what his cause of death was. Maybe it's heart failure. Maybe overworking, because your blood has to pump. Your heart has to pump blood around your body like how many miles per hour across how many miles of blood vessels. So it's a lot of work. So the larger you are, the more it has to work. So it's very unfortunate, she lost her father. I mean, we all gonna lose our family members. Man, that's I can't even resolve that to myself. But we're all gonna lose our family members. But maybe he could have lasted a little longer. Maybe he could have been preserved a little longer. Because this lady, I mean, I don't know how old she is, but she looks younger than I am. So, I don't think her father was that old. Her father is probably would have probably been around 60s, 50s right now. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, going back to bad habits, going back to self-medication, going back to escapism, all of those things, you kind of put them under the heading of negligence. Neglecting to actually address the issue. Neglecting to actually address the bad habits that are harming you. Neglecting dealing with and finding a way to get rid of the self-medication, the need for self-medication. Trying to not working towards a normalcy, not working towards homeostasis, not working towards balance. That is basically negligence, in my opinion. And it's not, you can't make people feel bad, so you can't say certain words. Negligence sounds really bad. Like self-medicating, now we can deal with it. We're comfortable with that one now. Addiction, self-medication, those aren't even bad words anymore. Really. My son watches a show called Lanky Box, and they're always saying how this game is addicting or this food is addicting, and then the other day he said he's addicted to something. I said, addiction to food is not good. It's not a good thing, you know what I mean? So, anyhow, the father, he had this weight problem. I mean, she was working. She had a job. He was taking off. So she was probably at least 18, maybe more. So for 18 years plus, he was probably big before that. For 18 years plus, he was 18 years plus he was overweight. 18 years plus he was dealing with a weight problem. And I mean, it's Monday night quarterbacking now. It's after everything has happened. But I mean, did anybody? I mean, they seem to be a close-knit family, which is pretty cool. It could be also stressful, so it's not necessarily that cool. But you had the aunt living there, the mother living there, the daughter living there, him. It's really not anybody else's responsibility but his to save his life. I mean, we live a very sedentary kind of existence right now. I mean, I work in the office. I sit down all day. I don't exercise. The most I walk is from my car into a building. The most I walk is from my car into a building. I mean, even when I used to take the subway, at least I used to walk up the stairs and down the stairs and stand on the train and get rocked back and forth. So that was a bit of a workout. But now, listen, I don't need to. I don't get any kind of physical activity. My heart rate doesn't go up, and I don't know if I mentioned, but they say my LDL cholesterol is high, which I don't fully understand what that is yet. But I think the HDL cholesterol is the good one. The LDL is a bad one, and from my understanding, low density, high density. Wait a minute, my high density is good, but my low density. Okay, so you know what? That's actually not too bad. Low density. I would think that it means low density, but I don't know. I'm making up my own words, so don't listen to me. Ignore that. But my LDL is high, it was borderline high, like 93, or I forget what exactly the number was. But I'm not happy about it. So I'm not saying that I'm very indisciplined myself. I'm very indisciplined, as you can see by the format and how I even deliver this podcast in a sloppy kind of way. But I'm trying to. I always used to walk during lunch when I don't have something to do, like go to the post office, go to the bank, go to the supermarket, go to Target, or something like that. If I don't have that to do, then I'll do a very casual walk to wherever I'm getting my lunch, and that's as much as physical activity that I get. But when they told me that my one of my cholesterols was high, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make the walk a little more intense. So took off the loafers and put on my sneakers, and now I wear my sneakers again to work, and I try to make my walk more energy, more high energy. I even went to the park yesterday and did some pull-ups. I couldn't do much at all. I could do maybe 5. I did some sit-ups. I could maybe do, I don't know, not that much either. I did maybe 10. I did some dips. I did about 5 dips. It's really about with me, it's really about the aesthetics, the upper body, But still, my heart started pounding. So, that was. I think that was good. That was good to get the heart rate up. But baby steps, right? Baby steps. Not that I could even handle too much work anyway. But today I'm gonna be going through my mail. I use my lunch break to go through my mail, so I'm not gonna exercise today. Most times when I get home, I just want to go to sleep. If I'm up late and I got all my stuff to do, work to do, papers to go through, whatever, I'm so tired. I just get sleepy. I just go to sleep. I'm on a clock that I go to bed, like probably by 10 o'clock I'm out. But anyhow, which is strange because then I just wake up at 3 o'clock. So anyhow, man, what I'm saying is tragic that we're all going to lose our family members. Tragic that, though, I think his death could have been averted, could have been delayed, maybe with some considerations of his health. At the size that he was, there had to be something wrong. He can't just eat to the capacity that he can't just eat to the size that he is. I wouldn't say that's really possible. There's probably a lot of inflammation, water retention, stuff like that. Maybe issues with his kidneys, because I think, or maybe issues with his liver, I should say. Maybe issues with his liver, or maybe always issues with his heart. Because if you have a heart valve issue, sometimes it causes water retention and then other things start going bad. But I don't know. I mean, reducing his caloric intake would probably help, but then he'll feel starved. So I don't. And then when you feel starved, you want to binge eat. But with so many people in the house, probably food is always in the house. I don't know what the conditions were, but something could have been done. It's kind of, the gastric bypass and the sleeve and all of these things. These are novel. These are things that only came about due to the obesity epidemic. These aren't things that were a thing or even considered, 50 years ago. But now that we have the majority of Americans are overweight, sleeves and banding, gastric bypass or whatever it's called, is a thing now. And I think it's probably saving people's lives. It's not only just helping people in their aesthetic, which it seems like most people use it for aesthetic reasons, but I think it's saving lives, you know. I think it's kind of even better than some of these pill related or medicinally related weight loss strategies, weight loss approaches. Anyhow, I mean, I like seeing the pictures that she had of her father on that page. Yeah, I think a gastric bypass would have definitely saved his life. Some physical activity, but you know, sometimes if you're that big, you know, his joints could have been bad, so physical activity might be difficult. Something has to be done, you know. Maybe he has a hormone imbalance. That's what I was getting at regarding not believing that just caloric intake alone is not the reason why he was so big. That's my opinion. So weight loss, I think, has to be approached on a multitude of levels. And one thing with people that get gastric bypass, they have to see, I think they have to go through some form of counseling or therapy before, or there's a class before it actually takes place. So it's not easy. It's a very difficult thing to go through, and there's a lot of limitations to what you can do after you have one. But it seems to, in my opinion, is saving lives. Got to be careful out there, I guess. You know, I mean, yeah, man. So, you know, maybe his life could have been saved. But you know, what I really took away from the post, what I really learned from the post, was that hallucinating is related to heart conditions. What? I didn't know that, because I was hallucinating. I feel like I was hallucinating in my sleep a few months ago. I was, but I don't know if that's considered hallucination or just dreams. No, I was not hallucinating. You know, you see, I just manufacture thoughts. I just manufacture experiences that never existed. So that's kind of weird. But I was having dreams, and what happened is I was like, you know what? I can understand how people can hallucinate. I can understand how people can be insane, because sometimes I'll have a dream and it seems so real that when I wake up, I have an issue with whatever I dreamed about. It's like it translates back into my life, you know. But hey, I ain't got much to say. I wish somebody could have interceded, gave that man the right word, motivated him, you know, preserved his life a little bit more. But we all gonna go anyway, so you know, he was gonna go anyway, you know. But that's rough, you know. But what? I mean, we don't know if he died in his sleep. I fear death. You see, he said it in the article. It said in the post, it said he was afraid of death, and I am too. But look at it like this: he was afraid of death, and I don't know his medical history. I don't know his life, but he was afraid of death. But he still didn't do anything about his weight. He didn't do anything about his heart condition. To my knowledge, I don't know. I'll read another article. Let me see. Let me look at the other side. Let's see if it says if he did anything about it. Let's go. Okay, so it says here, my dad's calling me from saying, you need to see this. He points to the TV screen and a golden buzzer says, "Do you see this kid? You're going to marry this kid, that kid, and now engaged in 2017. A year after that, that episode of America's Got Talent, I went to
SanCon with a friend. I wasn't going to, but my friend convinced me, and I'm so thankful she did. We bumped into that same singer. He happened to know my friend. She introduced me to Sal. The first thing I told him was Dad said I was going to marry him. He made a joke that he should probably take me to dinner first, so we made plans to get to dinner tonight. Yada, 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 yada. I told my dad how nervous I was. He told me just be myself, and it doesn't work out. Then it doesn't work out. And the next morning I woke up and went to work like typical Tuesday every day. Before I left the house, no matter where I had to go, I also gave my dad a kiss and a goodbye and told him I loved him. That was a big thing in our family. You could never go to bed or hang up the phone without saying I love you, because you never knew what tomorrow was going to be like. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it reminds me of my upbringing. Wow. Okay. When my dad passed, I was trying to get into the room. I was a medical assistant at the time and had a CPR certification. My arm pushed me to the side, and that's when I know he was gone. My friend was on her way to do my makeup. I called her screaming to call the cops. Damn, I'll never explain. He didn't know me at all. My friend called Sal, and he explained what happened. He didn't know me at all. We had just met at a random bar, but he sent food to my family's house that night. He drove all the way to Lemon Ice King of Corona in Queens to get me a big tub because he knew how much it meant to me. My dad was from Corona, Queens, and he was very proud of being from there. He used to drive there every Saturday to bring back tubs of ice for my family. We buried my father 2 nights before Christmas. On Christmas Eve, Sal reached out to me. He ended up going to the same midnight mass as my family. He sat with us and just held my hand. He told me that when he was praying, he told my dad he promised to take care of me. He wanted to help me through this time. He was living in Florida at the time and asked me to spend time with him there. I took a leave from work for 2 months. I lived with him. It was rough. My emotions were all over the place, but he stood right there. He took every emotion, whether it was anger, sadness, happiness. He stayed with me, and 4 years later, he proposed on Christmas. I'm a big believer in signs, and my dad gives me signs all the time that he's with me. That's what gets me through every day. I'm currently planning a wedding, and to think he's not going to be there breaks my heart, but at the same time, I do know he is watching me, and with me more than ever. Oh, this is a cool story. I mean, no, it's not cool. It's sad and it's cool. So what happened was, some guy was on America's Got Talent on TV. Her father saw the guy on TV and said to his daughter, "You're going to marry that guy." She went to SantaCon or something. It sounded like SantaCon. She went to some convention. She met the guy that was on the TV, right? And he was in New York. They were supposed to go out on a date like the next night or whatever. And her father passed away. And the guy, apparently he's also a Catholic just like her. They went to church like the next day, I guess. But he lived in Florida. She moved down to Florida with him. Yada yada yada. He proposed and they got married, and they're getting married. They're planning a wedding right now. And she was going through a lot of emotional stuff about it. Gave him a hard time too. So, but he stood up and he took care of her. So that's good, because he said he prayed to his father that he was going to take care of her. So, he made a vow. That's what's up, man. So, oh my gosh, that's amazing story. That's a weird story. So the guy who on TV, the father said she was going to marry, she's actually going to marry him now, it seems. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that weird? And rough. Oh man. So anyhow, that's all I gotta say. I wasn't really saying anything, but I feel like somebody should have intervened and somebody should have interceded and somebody should have inspired him. But he was afraid of death himself. So if he's afraid of death and he wasn't doing anything about it, nobody else was gonna get him to do anything about it. So, what can you do? All you can do is tell somebody, give them the information, try to give them some encouragement. But then at a point, they're gonna start getting annoyed. So then you gotta fall back, I guess. But I was just listening to a religious person that I listened to, and they said, spare the rod and spoil the child, or bring a child up in the way that he should grow. And basically he was saying that
wasn't just speaking in the context of children, but if you see something going wrong with somebody that you care about, it's your responsibility to basically point it out to them and say, listen, what you're doing is wrong, or you're not doing about it the right way, which is difficult in this time of social media and a lot of disrespect and pranks and all kind of stuff like that. But hey, I gotta go to work, so thanks for listening to me rambling and freestyling.